Good morning to the young doctors. We are missing you very much, but hope we are gaining the knowledge without any hindrance. So hope you will continue this spirit of acquiring knowledge in these days of lot of restrictions, isn't it? So from today onwards, for the rest of the few classes from me, you'll be knowing about the biochemistry of cancer. So most of the times, we'll be coming across many of our kith and kin, our close relatives, coming to us and asking to clarify certain doubts regarding cancer in some of their members of the families or close relatives. You may be getting such things. So during such circumstances, you should be able to tell them some specific clarification regarding when we will know that the particular patient is really suffering with cancer and what are the things that we have to do to establish that that patient is really suffering with cancer. And if cancer treatment is started, what type of cancer treatment is started, and if the progress of the cancer is being monitored or not properly, all these things you have to know. You will know definitely if you have a basic knowledge about the biochemistry of cancer. All these things will make you as the real representative of God on the face of the universe. There is nobody for a cancer patient, for that matter, for any patient, to clarify what is going on to me, what is going to be done for me, how I will recover, whether I will recover or not. All these things are so many confusing anxiety questions for the patient and the relatives. And at that circumstance, you should be able to identify able to tell these things. So you know about the cell cycle. Right from your intermediate, you will be knowing about this. Cell cycle refers to the events occurring during the period between two mitotic divisions. So it is divided into gap 1, G1 phase, S, that means synthesis phase, G2, gap 2, and M, mitosis. And these things are quite known to you in your intermediate. So cell division is taking place in M phase. So daughter cells then enter either into G0, that is undividing or dormant phase, or they can re-enter the cell cycle when there is a necessity for growth and repair. So these are the options for the cell, and the cell cycle follows like that. In a normal cell population, most of the cells are in G0 phase. General metabolic events are taking place in the G0 phase, and all the metabolic activities will be going on as usual without any problem. This is the cell cycle. You can see the G0 phase, and the cells, they will be just taking rest, and all the division will be going on. So in M phase, the cell divides. The cytokinesis, division of the cytoplasm will take place, and daughter cells will take place, and then it will enter the G1 phase. Cell growth and normal cell activations will be taking place, and chromosomes will be unduplicated. Then the synthesis of DNA will be taking place, and the chromosomes will be replicating in S phase. The interphase is G1, S, and G2 phase. Chromosomes duplicate, and G2 phase will be beginning. And the preparation for division of organelles will start in the G2 phase, and cell starts dividing. So this is in short about the cell cycle, which you know pretty well. So you know the UV lights, and in the UV lights, the cell cycle will be phased about 20 to 22 hours in cell cycle. So the CDC25, cyclin CDK2, and G1S checkpoints. All these things are not so materialistic for you for understanding about the cancer, but this is most important in post-radiation studies. So the important checks occur in 3 stages in G1 and S transition. During S phase, boundary phase, G1 phase checkpoint is more complex and it is under strict control. So 4 types of cyclins, cyclin A, B, D and E. There are the 4 types of cyclins and there are 5 different cyclin dependent kinases: CDK1, CDK2, CDK4, CDK5 and CDK6. So these are the cyclins and kinases. So cyclin dependent kinases and cyclins. These 2 things are the monitors. They will control the cell cycle. So cyclins got the name because they are synthesized throughout the cell cycle and they are abruptly destroyed during mitosis. And cyclins activate CDKs which phosphorylate specific substrates, and these substrates are nothing but the regulatory proteins. So ATM is a protein kinase that is associated with the DNA. If a break in DNA is produced by UV light, ATM is dissociated and it will be activated and then initiates a series of cascade reactions. And the CDK2 cyclin E complex is the one that directs the cells in G1 phase to enter into S phase. You can just have a visit to the cancer center in Visakhapatnam near Aganampudi. The Raghunath Rao, our great doctor, is the director there. He's a cancer research. He's holding the responsibility of cancer research and treatment at Aganampudi. So you'll be very happy if you introduce yourself and go and talk to him. And if you talk all these things, he'll be asking you first, what are all these details and how you got it. And then he will be very glad to show you around the cancer treatment and establishment of diagnosis. So oncology is a branch of medicine that deals with etiology, diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of cancer. So this is a very valuable branch of medicine. And of course, all said and done, the patient will come to you at the flag end of the career. And it is left to you whether to save him or not to save him. You can definitely save him if you have good knowledge about oncology. Onco in Greek language is tumor. So that is the oncology. So what is cancer? What causes cancer? How is cancer diagnosed? And can cancer be prevented? These are all the things that will be commonly worried by the general public. Since you are the student of medicine, you should be able to clear so many things, the doubts of a common man after completing the class in the next 4 sessions. So unregulated cell division is cancer. That's what everybody knows. Unregulated cell division. There should be regulation, isn't it? So when we are going to a temple, there should be a procedure. One by one, we should go. And we should not fall one on the other. We should not push the back of the other, isn't it? So unregulated cell division is cancer. The regulation is lost. So cancer is uncontrolled growth and cell proliferation results in a mass. So the cell proliferation without any control will finally end up into a mass. And that mass will slowly invade the neighboring tissues. And finally, at the end, it will metastasize to more distant sites. So when you cannot find place, you will migrate, isn't it? And in the same way, the tumor mass, when it cannot be contained in a small place, it will find its way through the blood vessels and lymphatics. Some cancers, there will be blood cancers and they will not form any tumor. In the blood, you will not find a tumor, but if you examine the blood, you will find the proliferation of lymphocytes and myeloblasts. So cancer is one of the most common and severe problems of the clinical medicine. So we'll be very happy to deal with small problems as long as the patient is walking and eating and doing his job. But when ultimately the patient is succumbed to the cancer and when he is bedridden, then you have to go and take the care. That is the onerous responsibility of a doctor. And really, I really prize and worship the gynecologists and then cancer specialists, oncologists. So normal cell will have a controlled cell proliferation, whereas cancer cell, in contrast, will never have a controlled cell proliferation. There will be uncontrolled proliferation of the cell. So the contact inhibition will be there. If at all we come in contact with some cancer producing situation, there will be inhibition of that situation in a normal cell. The normal cell will have an innate capabilities of inhibiting the contacts. But in cancer cell, no such contact inhibition will be there. Just it will accept whatever that is firing on it and it will be going on proliferating. And in normal cell, we have a normal nucleus. And in cancer cell, there will be abnormal nucleus. The shape and size of the nucleus and number of nuclei also will be increasing in cancer cell. The normal cell is organized in a single layer. In uncontrolled proliferation in cancer, there will be disorganized multi-layer, one upon the other. They will be layering upon, the cells will be layering upon one upon the other. There will be differentiated cells we see in normal cell lines. But in cancer cell, there will be non-differentiated cells. We cannot find out in a definite area, we will find an unnatural cell line. So we cannot see, we should not see such cell line in that place, but it will be seen in a cancer line. So there will be metastasis and it will be migrating to the distant areas and there will be angiogenesis when there is a lot of big tumors and it should be having a good supply of blood, isn't it? And in order to supply the blood, sufficient amount of blood, there should be proliferation of the blood vessels. New blood vessels will be going on, proliferating on the cancer mass. And apoptosis, you know pretty well, that is the controlled cell death, isn't it? So the controlled cell death will be keeping us online with the progress. And that controlled cell death will not be there for cancer cell. That's why it will be going on proliferating without any control. If some of the cancer cells are dying periodically, there's no problem, but it's not so. So it will not undergo controlled death cell death. So there will be undergoing no definite containment of cell death. So telomerase activity stops after about 50 cell cycles in normal cell. Telomerase is the one that will, I think you know pretty well about that. If the telomerase activity is good, you will never become old. But that's not possible. The telomerase activity should stop after 50 cell cycles for every cell. So it will be increased and persistent telomerase activity in a cancer cell. That's why the cancer mass will be going on increasing. That will be good if we have telomerase activity to prevent old age. That is only ambition, isn't it? So loss of normal growth control, the normal cell division, you know, the cell will go on dividing 1 into 2. But the normal cell growth after 1 will be damaged. Cell damage will take place and the cell suicide or apoptosis should be taking place normally. And in cancer cell division, it will be unhindered. First mutation, second mutation, third mutation, and fourth mutation. So all these things will be going on, resulting in uncontrolled cell growth. So normal regulated cell growth will be like that. represented by a close arrangement of bun. And in the cancer, uncontrolled cell growth at one place will start progressing. So cancer cells are characterized by three properties. One is unrestrained control of growth. You should be able to tell all this to anybody that's coming to your house to inquire about their health regarding some issue of cancer. So you should be able to define them. Cancer cells are characterized by three properties. Unrestrained control of growth, and cancer cells are immortal. They will be going on dividing. They will never end up. And they invade local tissues. And after invasion, it will metastasize through the blood vessels and lymphatic flow. So these are the four things that you should be able to impress upon the minds of anybody that comes to your house and asking you for details. And the biomedical importance of this is the second most common cause for death worldwide. So this is the importance given to the cancer. So cancer is the second most common cause for death worldwide. And all the human beings of all ages are affected, and wide variety of organs are affected. And beyond 50 years, it is most common. And in the pediatric age group, between first year to 15th year is most common. There is heavy incidence of blood cancers in the childhood age groups of 1 to 15 years. And likewise, it will be quite common for the people above 50 years also. As we live longer, we will be facing the drama of cancer. And as long as there is controlled proliferation, there will be no problem. When the control is lost, then all the problems will start. So broad cellular mechanism is inducing angiogenesis. The blood vessels will be increased. Large number of blood vessels will be started forming. That's why they will be getting more and more blood supplies. So they will be resisting cell death. There will not be apoptosis. So they will be resist the cell death and sustaining proliferative signaling. There will be cell signals from various agents, and the signaling will be continuing. And as long as they receive the signals, there will be proliferation going on. And then they will be evading the growth suppressors. Growth suppressors will be there. They will be stopping the cell growth, but these things will just evade. And the policeman will be there stopping us, but we'll just ignore his inhibition and we'll run our two-wheeler or four-wheeler. So evading the growth suppressors is one common thing that will result in cancer. And activating invasion and metastasis is one more signal. So finally, it will be enabling the replicative immortality. It will be immortal. It will not die so soon. So nomenclature of cancer, we have to have a little bit of knowledge about the names given to various types of cancer. And the most common things in pediatric age group as well as in the elderly age group also, leukemias. So they will be persisting in the blood streams. Lymphomas in the lymph nodes, they will be pertaining to the lymph nodes. Even in the lymph nodes of aortic lymph nodes and all these things will have lymphomas. And these lymphomas, it's very difficult to identify. Even though you have very sensitive type of screening, we may not sometimes be successful in spotting the lymphomas. But the symptoms will be quite common. The patient will be having anorexia, the patient will be losing the weight, and the patient will be inactive and terribly suffering with weakness, and they will be going down of the hemoglobin. All these things will be there. But where is the lymphoma? Where is the origin? To find it out, it will be very difficult regarding lymphomas. Especially in elderly age group, the lymphomas will be having a lot of problems. So some common sarcomas pertaining to fat, sarcoma of the bone, sarcoma of the muscle. So there are so many things in the fat, bone and muscle, the sarcomas will be seen. So it will be quite common right from the age of 18 years to about 60 years also you'll find the sarcomas. And great religious people suffered sarcomas. And some of the students, medical students, lost their life for sarcomas. The extensive, devastating surgeries will be done for sarcomas. So half the portion of the pelvis will be removed if we find a sarcoma in the upper part of the thigh bone. And all these things are quite devastating. Even though they are ready to spend whatever amount of money, it's not the result will not be so favorable in sarcomas. And in the childhood days, some small injury will trigger the development of sarcoma in the body of the small boy. So nobody can guess that this small injury, this trivial injury, led to the development of sarcoma. And we'll be knowing all these things in the next classes. So bladder, carcinoma of the bladder is quite common with men and women of all ages. And you know pretty well the prostate gland is only for the men. And men occupy 50% of the population. And all the 50% of the population, not all, some of the people only will have prostate cancer. So the prostate cancer also is a warning symptom. And you know pretty well all of us are having colon. And all of us will be having triggering agents that will be going on eating some or other type of, we'll be consuming lot of food materials. And these food materials will be igniting the colon to produce cancer, colonic cancers. And these colonic cancers will be going on enjoying very good health until our 50th year, half of our lifetime, 50th year, we'll be enjoying what all the things that comes to us, we'll be eating. We'll be dumping everything into our stomach. But ultimate drama will be faced beyond 50th year. And when we reach 60th year, we'll expedite all the accumulating wealth in the family, in our parents and relatives and wife side and everybody's side. We'll be accumulating, we'll be borrowing money, and finally we have to spend all the things, and we have to end up in the Asian Institute of Gastroenterology at Hyderabad. And there they will do hemicolectomy, and it's a devastating surgery. Half of the colon will be lost. We are not sure whether they will take half or 2/3, isn't it? So all these things are to be known by you so that you can be able to tell this, to give awareness to your people that you come across. And you know about the breast cancer, not only for the woman, breast cancer is also possible for the men also, remember. And whatever mass that we see in the breast, we should view it with a lot of doubt. We cannot just take it for granted that everything is normal. No. And the people in the house will be telling, your father-in-law is having this, your grandfather was having that, your grandmother is having that. They lived 60 years, 70 years. Not so easy. So whatever lump is there in the breast, we should view it with a doubt. We should view it with a very lot of doubt, not simple doubt. And similarly, lung is exposed to the insult in the nature. Whichever place we live, we are taking the respiration, and we are not sure what type of pollutants we are inhaling through the dust, the beryllium, nickel, cadmium, all these things, and all industrial pollutants, all coal tar products. You know pretty well about the smoking. I need not tell you anything. You are learning about this right from your 5th class. And by the time you reach your 10th standard, you know most of the details about nicotine and smoking. And by the time you are in the intermediate, you are 2/3 conversant with the problems of smoking. And when you are now in the MBBS, you should be knowing the rest of the problems also associated with smoking. And not only the smoker, the passive smoker in the house, the husband will be smoking like Raja, but the poor wife and the children, obedient children, enjoying the presence of the father, will be deriving the problems of smoking by the father. This is known as passive smoking, hazards of passive smoking. Not only the children and wife, and if the wife is pregnant, and if any member of the family is smoking inside the roof, the smoke will be inhaled by the mother, and the same thing will reach the fetus that will be dividing, hopefully to live 100 years inside the womb of the mother, but it will come out with some inherent cancer, isn't it? So these are all the dangerous things. That's why we should insist upon the people to avoid smoking. So we have seen leukemias, lymphomas, sarcomas relating to fat, bone and muscle, and bladder cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, and we have not shown here the ovarian cancers, and lung cancer, and brain cancers we have not shown, isn't it? So we have to name the cancers. So naming of the cancers should be like this. Suppose if the cancer is pertaining to a gland, any gland, anywhere, we should have a prefix for the name adenocarcinoma. So adenocarcinoma is the name given to the cancer of a gland. And if the cancer is pertaining to the cartilage, if the tumor is pertaining to the cartilage, we call it as chondrosarcoma. So so if it is pertaining to the erythrocytes, red blood cells, we have leukemias. If it is pertaining to the dividing blood vessels, we call it as hemangioma. And if it is pertaining to the liver, we call it as hepatoma. And if it is pertaining to the fat, liposarcoma. And if it is pertaining to the lymph vessels and lymph nodes, lymphocytes, lymphoma. And if it is pertaining to the pigment cells of the skin, we call it as melanoma. And if it is pertaining to the bone marrow, we call it as myeloma. And if it is pertaining to the muscle, we call it as myoma. And if it is pertaining to the bone, osteoma. So these are all the names that we'll derive. If you see a report with a patient, you should be able to guess where it is and what type of cancer it is, and thereby you will get some idea of explaining it to the patient. As long as he is with you, you can tell some words to him to console him, isn't it? So the normal growth, you know pretty well. The dividing cells will be seen in the basal layer, and they will be deriving blood supply from the dermis, and the cells will slowly migrate in 4 stratas. Stratum malpighium, all the stratas you know pretty well. So finally you'll find the epidermis, and the dead cells will be shed from the outer surface, isn't it? So this is the normal cell growth in a normal individual. And tumors can be of 2 major types. One is benign tumor and another is malignant tumor. Benign tumors are generally slow growing. So expansive masses often will be there with a pushing margin. So they will be coming up and shedding themselves. Naturally, you need not do much about that, unless otherwise it will be seen overtly on the skin or in any genitalia or the labia minora, labia major, and all these things. They'll be interfering with the personal life of the patient. In close quarters, they'll be suffering in their minds. So if such case is there, even though it is a benign tumor, we have to expel it out by surgical methods, even though it pushes sometime with a pushing margin. So it will be enclosed within a fibrous capsule. This is benign tumor. The malignant tumors are usually rapidly growing. They will be invading the local tissues and they will be spreading to distant sites. So these are the malignant tumors and these are cancer cells. So malignant versus benign tumors. Benign is not a cancer tumor, and the cells will grow only locally, and they cannot spread by invasion or by metastasis. The malignant cancer cells will invade neighboring tissues, and they will enter the blood vessels and metastasize to different sites in the body. So the DNA damaging agents will be affecting the normal cells, and the normal cells will undergo the DNA damage, and the DNA damage will result in the mutation on the genome of the somatic cells, and they will lead to inactivation of suppressor genes, and or they will be leading to the activation of oncogenes. And these oncogenes activation and inactivation of suppressor genes together will express an altered gene product that will bring up a malignant neoplasm. And the telomerase will be having the increased survival. If it attains the increased survival, there will be clonal expansion of altered cells will be seen. And the mutation on genome of somatic cells will lead to inactivation of suppressor genes, and that will invariably lead to the expression of altered gene products to result in cancer. So the beginning of cancerous growth will be just like this. At one stage, there will be uncontrolled division, and it will slowly enter into the underlying cells also. So the neoplasms will slowly enter into the underlying tissues, and they will migrate to the distant metastasis. So the cancer cells invade the surrounding tissues and blood vessels, and they are transported by circulatory system to distant sites. So they re-invade and grow at the new location, and they'll be showing its capability. So why we have to say that cancer is potentially dangerous? So when the cancer migrates to the brain, it will have a lot of neurological disturbances and problems, pain, headache, vertigo, loss of vision, and loss of smell, loss of normal activities, irregular activities, irregular movements. All these things will be seen by brain cancers. And the melanoma cells travel through bloodstream and can get localized in any area of the body. And the liver cancer can be migrating into any area. And melanomas, skin cancers, initial tumor on a small colored area of the skin, the moles or unnatural sites. And if the moles are enlarging in their shape and size, we have to think that something is going on fishy on our skin. That can be a melanoma. So what causes cancer? Some viruses or bacteria, some chemicals, some type of radiations, and by heredity one can get a cancer. By consuming some type of diets we will get a cancer, and some hormones will unnecessarily act upon our body and results in cancer. So these are all the things that make cancer, that will cause cancer. So the etiology of cancer that we can sum up. Genetic factors may be there in the etiology of cancer. Hormonal factors may be the reason. The racial, some races are known to get particular type of cancers. And some geographic factors. The people living in a particular type of geographical terrains will get a particular type of tumor. Environmental factors. The environment will be influencing to get so many types of cancers. And chemical factors, what all the types of chemicals that we'll be utilizing in day-to-day life. And age also will have etiology. And as we grow up in age, we are for getting a type of cancer. And even in the childhood, I told you about the leukemias. The small children will also get cancer, and we have to know that only when they reach the age of 2 to 3 years, and finally by the time they reach the age of 15 years, all the chances will be finished. And sex. And as we know pretty well, the male people have only the testis and prostate, And testis and prostate are the two areas where we will get the chance of cancer. And the other areas are quite common, depending upon the behavioral pattern of the man. We may get a cancer or not. Whereas for the woman, all the organs on the body of a woman are potentially meant for transforming into a type of cancer. So breast cancer, the ovarian cancer, and the uterine cancers, carcinoma of the endometrium, and cancer of the cervix, cervix, the entry of the female genital area, cervix, cervical cancers, for no problem, for no sin of their own, the women are suffering all these cancers. So breast cancer, bone cancer, brain cancer, cervical cancer, uterine cancer, all these things, ovarian cancers. So many things are there. Even though we marry or not married, there is no end for this. All these things can be prevented if we have a normal hereditary factor with us. So heredity can affect many types of cancer. So retinoblastoma is a cancer that is connected with the eye. We used to have a patient from tribal area. I brought the patient along back some 6 or 8 months back. So huge mass on the area of the eye invading into the half the portion of the face. The small child of say 2 to 3 years we brought, and the doctors spent a lot of their energies, the surgeons, and they invited the cancer specialists and everybody as a group. They have done a lot of surgery for the baby, and we felt that the baby is quite happy, and we kept the baby in spite of all the heavy expenditure for the drugs and maintenance. We kept the baby in our hospital for nearly 4 months. But finally, the baby developed the cancer, spreading into distant metastasis, and we are forced to send the baby to the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Cancer Treatment and Research, where the baby is lost for follow-up, and they went against medical advice to their tribal area, and finally they have succumbed. The baby has succumbed there. So retinoblastoma is one type of cancer where we can do nothing much better than in normal situations. Xeroderma pigmentosum is another cancer relating to pertaining to the skin, and the kidney is known to have Wilms tumor, a big tumor mass. The baby will born with a big tumor mass, and the abdominal part of the baby cannot be delivered. The head will be delivered, but the abdominal part of the baby poses problems to deliver because the size of the abdominal circumference will be extensively enlarged by the presence of Wilms tumor. If only we happen to know about the presence of that Wilms tumor pertaining to kidney before the baby comes out. That means when the mother is pregnant, then we can do something, isn't it? So these are the areas where we should be very careful. And the scanning is one thing that is definitely giving a lot of help for all of us. Lee-Fraumeni syndrome of sarcomas, of the brain, breast, and leukemias, and familial adenomatous polyposis will be seen in colon and rectum. Rectal polyps, the colonic polyps, the colon will be having multiple polyposis. All the polyps will be potentially undergoing cancer turnout, and the rectum will be having a rectal polyp. In a small child, whenever he defecates in the open, we will be seeing a small polyp coming out of the rectum, and he finishes defecation and comes. The mother will be cleaning, washing the rectum, and she will be finding that, palpating that small polyp. She is knowing, but she do not know what to do and where to go. And if you are there, you can tell the mother that this adenomatous polyps will cause potential dangers, That's why the mother can approach a doctor and simple, we can twist the polyp and remove it at that stage. And even on at a later stage, what will happen? He will be going on under the treatment or under the supervision of a doctor. And Page's disease of bone that will lead to the bone cancer. Fanconi-aplastic anemia will be seen in leukemias and liver cancers and skin cancers. So these are all the extensive knowledge where you will be able to give some knowledge to the patient who they come. And you should know the types of carcinogens. And the carcinogens are radiant energies like ultraviolet rays. You know pretty well, all of us are exposed to the ultraviolet rays. We are invariably sitting under bar light, tube light, and reading day in and out. And by the time we end up our clinical pursuit of knowledge by becoming a postgraduate and a specialist and super specialist, we are reaching the age of 35 years. And finally, the radiant energy will exercise its carcinogenic effect on us. And X-rays, you know pretty well about the presence of X-rays in our day-to-day life. We are using it in the radiology departments. And in general, day-to-day life, we are exposed to the gamma rays when we are sitting before our what is that we call it? Inside our every house there is one TV. So all the alpha rays and gamma rays, all said and done, the gamma rays are more having the potent radiant energies. They will be spoiling the pyrimidine dimers. They will be warming the pyrimidine dimers. They will be establishing the DNA cross-linkings, and they'll initiate the free radical generation in our body. These are the potential dangers of radiant energy by UV rays, X-rays, and gamma rays. And you know, chemical agents, 80% of the cancers are caused by the chemicals. So the exposure can occur during occupation. So somebody will be taking up some occupation to make both ends meet in the family. He has to acquire some money to support the family needs, isn't it? So this occupation may cause cancer to him. And during intake of diet, if we take artificial coloring agents, what will happen? I told you in the last class. So many dangers are there. In day-to-day life, we'll be just carelessly consuming so many dietary things which will contain unnecessarily so many coloring materials, sweetening agents, flavoring agents. All these things are potentially causing cancer. So lifestyle, cigarette smoking, I told you, tobacco chewing, we know it well, alcohol consumption, we know it pretty well. And the other ways are therapeutic drugs. We may be taking some therapy, some treatment, and some of these therapeutic drugs make us end up in carcinogenic manner. So, you know, chemical carcinogens, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, benzopyrenes, dimethyl benzoanthracene compounds, aromatic amines like acetylaminofluorines, aminobenzenes, nitrosamines, dimethyl and diethyl nitrosamines, drugs like cyclophosphamide, naturally occurring compounds like aflatoxin, you know pretty well in groundnuts. So if we take the fungus spoiled groundnuts, we may be getting the liver cancer, isn't it? And actinomycin and inorganic compounds like arsenic, asbestos, beryllium, cadmium, and chromium, they'll be causing so many dangerous cancers. You know pretty well about the people working in repairing of the radios and TVs. They'll be using the chromium salts to solder the circuits. So these people will be closely working on the soldering of these circuits. They are exposed to the professional chromium, which is a carcinogenic agent. And you know pretty well about cigarette smoking. Smoker's lung will be appearing like this, and a healthy lung will be appearing like this. And if you just want to have a relative overview of this, you can go to any small area. So my time is over anyhow. The tumor markers are waiting for you. We have to stop here. So lung cancer is associated with habit of cigarette smoking. Cigarette contains many carcinogens. The most important groups are benzopyrens. Other important deleterious substances in cigarette smoking are nicotine, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, and carbon soot. So incidence of lung cancer is increased to 15 times more in persons smoking 10 cigarettes per day. A non-smoking spouse of a heavy smoker will have 5 times more probability of getting lung cancer than a non-smoker. So this effect is called passive smoking. Oral cancer is strongly associated with chewing of the tobacco. And mutagens and carcinogens, any substance which increases the rate of mutation is known as mutagen. All mutagens are carcinogens. And examples are radiations like X-rays, UV rays, gamma rays, chemicals like benzopyrene, aflatoxins, hormones like estrogen. So industrial pollutions, carcinogens, arsenic in mining and pesticide workers, they cause lung cancer, skin cancer, liver cancer. And asbestos, construction workers, asbestos sheets will be done by them. The lung cancer, mesothelioma of the lung is most dangerous one. Benzenes in petroleum, rubber and chemical workers, leukemias they will cause. Chromium, metal workers and electroplatters, they will be leading to lung cancer. Leather dust will, in shoe manufacturing will lead to nasal cancers and bladder cancers. Naphthylamine in chemical and dyeing and rubber workers will lead to bladder cancers. Radon, in underground mining, there will be so much of radon, radioactive elements, they will lead to lung cancer. The soot and tars and oils in coal, gas, petroleum workers lead to lung, skin and liver cancer. Vinyl chloride in rubber workers, polyvinyl chloride manufacturers will lead to liver cancer. Wood dust will lead to furniture manufacturing workers to nasal cancers. I hope it will be enough. I should not encroach upon the Professor Adinarayana's time. Hope we will be expanding our knowledge in the next classes. Thank you.